It is time for Más que un podcast. It's John here with Buga and Pablo. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the 1-0 victory over Mallorca. LAMINE YAMAL showing up again for the Blaugrana. We'll take a look ahead. We got Napoli in the Champions League Leg 2 coming to Barcelona, hosting them at the Montjuic. And then, of course, we're going to take a further look. We got Atletico Madrid in La Liga, which we have to talk about La Liga. We'll get through it, folks. We'll get to all that and more in today's episode. Let's check in with the boys. Pablo, how we doing, sir?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I mean, it's a bit odd now, I think, because obviously we've just only got one game a week right now. The games, I don't think, are that inspiring really at the moment. Like Mallorca again on Friday night didn't exactly get me off my seat, other than that LAMINE YAMAL screamer. Obviously, we've got a lot of players missing. But now, last week before the international break, it's a massive week. It's just like season defining. It really is. It's like, I mean, this season likely will not turn into anything really, but I think to go out to Napoli on Tuesday would be, a massive, massive hit. So got to get through Napoli, and then we've got Atleti away in La Liga as well, the Civitas Metropolitano, as they call it now. I always call it the Wanda, but so massive week coming up, massive week. But Friday night against Mallorca, don't think it was incredible. Bit of a tough watch at times, but we got the job done eventually from a certain someone.
Yeah, we'll get into some of those details here. Buga, where are you at with things? How you feeling?
Is it difficult to say just happy, excited for watching Barcelona the time and time again?
What? As a Barcelona supporter? Happy? What? Joy? These words don't coexist.
Yeah, no, it's a joke. I'm actually just as depressed as every single week this season. No, but I'm excited because I think that this game, I don't know why it always takes me a bit for me to recognize the talent and La Masia player like just progressing and whatnot. And I think that this game against Mallorca was finally when I went like, okay, Lamine Yamal, okay, Pau Cubarsí, and it's like maybe it's because nothing else it's really happening, but I'm excited just to have these two young players in the squad, just seeing how they perform every single week in, week out. They are just, can you call them regular starters at this point? Because they are at this stage 17 and 16 years of age, and they are just one of the best players that we have, the couple of them. So I'm excited what's to come for the future, but nervous, of course, because like Pablo said, the game on Tuesday, it's a big one. It's a very, very big match. It decides absolutely everything, and I'm sort of dreading that game because what can happen afterwards, but I just know that if we manage to pull through, I'm actually going to feel some sort of enjoyment of Barcelona, just because seeing us back in the quarterfinals after a very long time is sort of what you live for as a fan, right?
Yeah, I love it. Well, Buga, you mentioned LAMINE, you mentioned Cubarsí, the youngsters, of course, standing out for Barcelona. Anything else standing out from that Mallorca match? I agree with you. It was a bit of it wasn't a snoozer, but it was, I will say, as close as you can get to a snoozer without calling it a snoozer. You know what I mean? Not a lot of excitement. So what else stood out for you guys?
I just really liked also Vitor Roque having that wild card to come off the bench. I just really like that. I mean, the last time Vitor Roque started right from the get-go, I thought he was a little bit underwhelming, but having just him, 18 years of age, coming off the bench, having no pressure at all, just running into defenses, tired defenses at that, he brings that extra fresh of legs and just gives us a sort of verticality that we don't have in the final few stretches of the game. So I like that. I think that wildcard it's very, very good. I also like Koundé. I think he was back again, very good in defense. And after that, I just wanted to point out for Christensen. I think that he's not the CDM that we all want, and he's not someone who's going to help us, get to the next level. But seeing the stats of what in the last 6 games we haven't conceded as many goals. Last 7 games we conceded 6 goals, I think, and we had the last 3 games clean sheets. So it's a massive improvement. It took him a while to settle into that position, but I mean, he's not there to pass the ball forward. He's just there literally to cover, to be an extra man, to be a more lanky guy in the CDM position that perhaps others we have. And he just gets things out. He keeps it tidy. He keeps it organized. And I think that's the sort of, stopgap, the best that we can get for this current moment with our players at the stage, right?
Yeah. Is there an update on the Rafinha injury? I completely forgot to follow up on that.
I read that
he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine. He's going to be available for Napoli.
Yeah,
should be. Yeah, it's whether Xavi uses him now. I don't know if he will now. I really don't. It'd be
Yeah,
intriguing to see the midfield.
I think
we'll,
there are
we'll get to
lineup.
lineups. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Save it.
put a pin in that. I gotta hold you guys back. I know we're dying to get to Napoli. I know. I do want to ask what you all thought about Inigo Martinez against Mallorca, because I thought for the first time he had some glaring mistakes and really struggled to keep up with the pace of their forward. I forget who, Larin, I believe it was for Mallorca, just really struggled there. And for me, if you look back, again, I just told you guys not to talk about Napoli yet, but if you look at leg one, Martinez started against Napoli. I'm not so confident in leg two. I think I am going Kubarsi. So I don't know. Was that a problem for you all? Did that stand out?
Yeah, no, it did a little bit, and I was actually quite intrigued that, because usually when you come on Twitter at the end of a game, every thought you've had isn't original because there's so many Barca fans and everyone's saying it. But that's a really good point, John, because I sort of watched it and I thought, oh, Inigo's been spun quite a few times here. LAMINE is really getting into him, and I know that LAMINE and Muriqi up there, like, that's a bit of a difficult duo to stop. And they're in the Copa del Rey final for a reason. These guys, I suppose, that they battled against some big teams, but Kubarsi did a much better job of dealing with LAMINE especially than Inigo Martinez did, who was just getting spun by him. I think there was one where he got past him and then Kubarsi came with a last-ditch challenge. And it happened a few times. And you make the point about leg one against Napoli as well. It was a simple win for Barca, the first leg, really. Napoli didn't really threaten us, to be honest, and silly step up from Inigo when he didn't need to do it at 1-0. Yeah.
That's right. It was Martinez who got beat for the goal against Napoli.
It was, yeah.
It was.
I saw an interesting point, and just quickly, I do think it will be Koundé, Kubarsi, and Araujo. So a massive start for Kubarsi. Araujo will come back in. Obviously, was suspended on Friday night. Cancelo will be on the left. I think that will be the back four. Definitely Will Christensen just in front. But Saul made an interesting point about Napoli. Say we'd won that game 1-0. Do you think we'd actually potentially be in a worse position in this second leg because of the Barcelona mentality? We'd be going into that game thinking we don't need to win this game to get into the quarterfinals. I think that's a dangerous spot to be in. It's not for a team like a Real Madrid or a Liverpool or a Man City because they just get the job done. But for this Barcelona team, I think having that one goal lead and thinking if it's 1-1, we're okay. I think that's dangerous. The fact that it's 1-1 means we know we have to win this game. Like, yes or yes. I think that might actually help us in regards to mentality and mindset for being clear where we want to go with the game.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, actually, because one of the things that I'm going to be pushing for is an early goal from Barcelona being the determining factor. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay, so Mallorca match. I think last thing I have on my list for this is Marc Gui getting the start. Well, hang on, back up. As an American, I have the right to mispronounce anybody's name. I do reserve that right. How do you guys pronounce it? Guiu. Gui? Gu?
I pronounce it like you.
I've heard so many variations.
Gui. Marc Gui.
Gui? Okay, I'm going Gui. Sticking with the boys. 3 Guis. Yeah. There it is.
That's
the votes are in. If you feel differently, let us know in the comments. But you'd have to spell it out phonetically somehow. So figure that one out. But how do you pronounce Marc Gui's last name? Let us know down in the comments or share your other thoughts. We do want to hear from you. That is a big part of this podcast. We love reading the comments. We love keeping the conversation going. So after you've subscribed and, of course, click that like button, leave some comments, ask your questions, give your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Anything else from the Mallorca match before we really jump over to Napoli?
Was Xavi suspended? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Xavi was up in the stands.
I was wondering why wasn't he in the game, like in the sidelines. I mean, have you seen the record of Oscar Hernandez, by the way? Yeah. Somebody put it on Twitter, like, this guy's undefeated.
Yeah. It's who was the Barca B-Mayors that came up before him? Sergi Barjuan.
Oh, yeah, Barjuan.
No, Barjuan, yeah. I think when you only have a couple of matches and you only got to get the results here and there, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics, as they say. So, Buga, you mentioned you might have some thoughts for Barcelona ahead of this Napoli match. Are we going to see something different? Do you have some advice in terms of the tactics, the gameplay? Like, what can Barcelona do differently to maybe get something other than a draw against Napoli here?
Look, it wasn't really about. It's about overall about Barcelona can approach these games and mainly of how we've been doing in the past few stages of our development in terms of tactically, like looking at the tactical board or whatnot. There's plenty of times I think where our team doesn't really know what they're playing at, and I think that's a massive, massive issue. Like we've talked before, how Joao Felix, how Lewandowski, how even Rafinha, whenever they make a run, wherever they're pushing forward, they get angry, they get mad, they get frustrated, and I think that's a sort of mentality that is I don't know how in Spanish it's autosuficiente, where you mean I can do the business, I can take this game forward, I can be the decider for this team. And I was watching today the Liverpool versus City match, and there were plenty of times where both Liverpool players were making those runs, where you see Manchester City players making those runs, none of them frustrated. And I think the difference is that the main key point that I want to take away is that you look at these players and how they make those runs, and it's, you know what? I don't get frustrated because I believe more on the tactics of this team, of that I know this run will be impactful somehow, even if the ball doesn't get to me. I know I rely on whatever the manager is putting on the back of our team, whatever he's planning. That makes more sense. That's the bigger picture. And that for me, Barcelona just doesn't really happen. And I also take a look at City's. Did both of you watch the game of today?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, you saw the very first goal of City was set piece. And I also take a look at Guardiola's team, how he's above this Manchester City team. And I'm not pretty sure 100% that Guardiola is the same manager that he was when he was at Barcelona, because you take a look at the tactics, you take a look at how he closes the game down. He's much more physical. He likes to play with a back three. He's not scared about, doing the set piece tactics. He's not playing dead balls. He's much more complete as a manager now, and he has evolved with the time. And I think that's something that Barcelona, they only take a look at, you take a look at Guardiola and you take a look at maybe the days of his tiki-taka at Barcelona, and if you bring him back, you want him to play that. But when you take a look, of course, he does play that Manchester City, but he's not afraid to go to Anfield and, let's sit back a little bit. Let's defend. Let's use a set piece to try and get the goal. City were today demolished by Liverpool. They were really eaten up, but they managed to contain and go out of there with a 1-1 draw. And I think that sort of Xavi did that a little bit last season, but now it's like we are forgetting that sometimes that's a bigger picture. Like, we need to be competitive as well. And I think in a game like Napoli, we should be looking at all those different points. You're never gonna see Barcelona work on a set piece. They will never work on us. I don't know. They don't work on those sort of things. And it's like, whenever it happens, the last time it happens, I remember, was a friendly game. Remember when Dembele was still on the team? I think he did something with Pjanic.
Who's that? I don't.
No.
It wasn't with Pjanic. Who was it?
It was in the Classico this summer.
This summer
is that the last time that we've scored off of a
Gundogan Dembele, right?
Yeah, it was a lovely. It was Pedri, Gundogan, Dembele. It was a lovely, lovely goal.
Yeah, and you see, that's the last time it happened, and it was a friendly game. And I just think that for Barcelona to evolve in games like this, we must come out of it. And that's why, for me, Barcelona still, whether we go through Napoli, we're still not there. We're still not that competitive team that can come out of a game with a result. Like, I just think that we need to be better like that. And that's why I wanted to bring up this point when we're taking a look at this game, because for me, most importantly, it's not how we play for a game like this. It's really the result.
Yeah, you have a good point. Like last year, we were much better at just getting the result, getting the 1-0 victories instead of the 1-1 draw, the 2-1 loss that has so often come for Barcelona this year. So I do agree with you that I don't know if is it a mentality thing? Is it a tactics thing? Is it we talked about the lack of consistency as well with the lineup. I mean, what is the difference, Pablo? Because it seems like not that much has changed for the club, but the results from last year to this year, it's just not the same.
Yeah, it's been the question all season, really, hasn't it? Like, we weren't incredible last season, but we were a very, very competitive team. Very competitive. Best defense in Europe for a reason. Very difficult to beat. I don't know. It's all gone out the window. I maybe my biggest reasoning would be that Xavi tried to play more attractive football, and we didn't have the facilities, or maybe he wasn't a good enough coach, or the coaching staff wasn't. The players we brought in weren't good enough to match it. Probably weren't, especially without Dembele. didn't really have the facilities to play that sort of football, and then we sort of forgot a bit about the defensive side, just thought that'll take care of itself, when actually it all worked really well. I think that would be the biggest thing I'd point to, really. I mean, you talk about managers adapting, and I completely agree on that, and that's why I didn't see it as a bad thing from Xavi last season, but that's just like I didn't see it as a bad thing under Ernesto Valverde either. All of this chat about Barcelona playing bad football, it's not that bad, and like Man City, they are brilliant. They are playing the best football, but it isn't 2012 Barcelona, Man City's football. It really isn't. And they've just changed. They just evolved. They often play 4 centre-backs, massive blokes, Rodri in front of them, Kovacic next to him sometimes. Big physical players who can take on a lot of load in Premier League games. Today's game was very intense, but Man City have got monsters in there. Like Pep evolves. Like I think, like, what is it? I mean, people believe him through his teeth. I think someone interviewed him. It was come up the other day, and I think they were using it as a pointer for why De Zerbi should get the Barca job or something. And I don't think he should, because he gets mauled by Luton in the Premier League because he's playing good football. Yeah. For me, getting mauled 4-0 by Luton isn't good football. I don't care if you're passing around the back. Like, it's just no.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, there was an interview with Pep, and you know what Pep does at his interviews. He just lies through his teeth basically. And they were saying, like, would you ever give up the style for results? And he said, like, absolutely not. Like, fundamentals that remain the same, like, always. Like, I would never give it up. And it's like, actually, like, it's like a blind man could see how much Pep has changed from 2012 to like 2024. And people don't want to like believe that, but it just is the case. Mm-hmm. You make the point, yeah. If Pep came out to Barca, he wouldn't be playing like 2010 at all. And that's what we got right. We got right in a way last season. We don't have unbelievable football. We've got a very good team, but we played good enough football, controlled games, and defended well. It's La Liga. It's a tough, tactical, stubborn league. Very difficult league. Not like the Premier League at all anyway either, by the way. Teams are very deep, very tactical, very defensive. The game is very slow. Rodri spoke about that the other day. So, people need to understand that, I think, especially when thinking about the new manager.
Well, Pablo, you mentioned something. I think it's an opportunity to maybe get some heat in the comments. Which is a more competitive league, La Liga or English Premier League?
It's such an interesting one. Go on, Paul, and then I'll give my thoughts.
It's a difficult one because when you take a look at the Premier League, I think that there's, of course, you have the whole argument about the money, like the TV rights, how much money they have, the players that the Luton squad have compared to what the bottom of the table have in La Liga. Of course, it's going to be much competitive. It's way closer between Manchester City or Arsenal, I guess. It's at the top of the league at this stage with, I don't know which team are at the bottom, but you know what I mean. Like with the bottom team, it makes much more sense to be more competitive. However, it's different because when you take a look at La Liga in European matches, for instance, I bet you that a Sevilla nowadays, or like even which team, let's say, let's go, a Bilbao could easily beat could be like a Tottenham, could beat Manchester United, could beat Chelsea, could give a run to its money to Arsenal and stuff like that. I think it could work. The problem is that it's between the league itself. I think that the Premier League is more competitive in the sense it's way closer in the terms of the teams. I think there is more disparity in between La Liga and the Premier League, but it doesn't mean that it's less competitive in a sense.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tables, and I think if I go kind of in chunks, right, like top, middle, bottom, for my like top 6 clubs, I think La Liga has it. I think La Liga has them beat. Not every team, right? But I think if the top 6 in the Liga played the top 6 of the EPL, I think La Liga comes out with better results. The middle of the table is where I think Premier League is actually better. They stay competitive from like 6 down to 12, 13, 14. That's where you have the West Hams, Brighton, Wolves, Newcastle, Chelsea, Fulham. Like those clubs, I think beat the middle of La Liga clubs. Why is that so funny?
Chelsea
Chelsea
because Chelsea are down at 11th right now. Sorry, Pablo. I didn't mean to bring it up. Sorry, Pablo.
Chelsea bundled in with them. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Not very thoughtful. But then I'm going to swing back to the bottom of the table. Rayo Vallecano, Celta Vigo, Cadiz, Granada. I'll take them over a Nottingham Forest, a Luton, a Burnley, a Sheffield United.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if we went top to bottom, I'm going La Liga actually.
Is that the thing is that La Liga, like I was saying, like I think that La Liga makes up because not of the lack of players, but simply they are more tactically, they're better worked teams. They are more a team than like you take a look at Nottingham Forest and they're brilliant players here and there. You know, I take a look at Luton and it's basically Barkley running the show. Then you have that guy Doughty, the left wing back. He just puts a cross in and bang, a goal from Adebayo. Like that's how it works in Luton. But a team like a Rayo Vallecano, like a team like Rayo Vallecano, they're worked more. You know, they're a team that have spent, I don't want to say more days in the training ground, but it just looks that way. So that's when it comes to those teams between them. I think the team overall always wins. It's more common for a team to always win that than just like, you know, the star that pops up here and there. So that's I think that's the difference. The difference is that in the Premier League you have suddenly one day, I don't know, Alexander Isak turns up and he scored 2 goals against Liverpool. That's what happens, you know. That's why it looks more compact in the middle of the table.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Didn't mean to sidetrack us like that, but I know that's going to definitely get some opinions going. So let us know what we got wrong. Let us know your thoughts. Who's got a more competitive league, Premier League or La Liga? Let's jump back to this Napoli match. Shall we try to predict a lineup here? I think we probably all agree on the back four, right? Playing in front of Ter Stegen, of course. Koundé, Araujo, Cubarsí, Cancelo.
Yeah.
Either of you have anything different?
I'm not sure if I'm going to start.
Like his wheels are turning.
Here we go.
No. I like Cubarsí. I really, really, really do like Cubarsí. I'm just thinking like,
but
I don't know. You're right about Íñigo Martínez. Like, I don't know if he has the legs to keep up to someone like Osimhen. Like, I think he really struggled in that first leg. He really struggled against Larin Muriqi, against Mallorca. So I don't know if he's in his best of form. Can we put anybody else at right back? Do we have anybody else who can do a job at right back? That's my question. Not really.
Sergio
Roberto, dude.
He's the guy for the big moments.
Do it.
No,
don't do
come
it.
on. I mean, we're not putting him right back again. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm with Pablo. Never again.
Come on.
# never again. Hector Fort, but Xavi hasn't been playing him lately. I was actually surprised that his playing time got cut. I thought his attitude, his service from the wing, left or right. I was sitting here thinking like, okay, this is kind of a Cancelo Jr. here. He can do it from both sides. If we have Cancelo and Fort and Balde and any other wing back, you know, that can play on the right hand side next year, I think we're looking solid. But anyway, Hector Fort, Sergio Roberto, Koundé, those are our options.
Why don't you want Koundé?
No, it's not. I don't want Koundé. I don't want Cubarsí in the middle.
Ooh. So would you want Koundé and Araujo?
Yes, I'm way more of a like an athlete sort of guy when I look at the teams. Like if I'm gonna match Osimhen in the middle, I need 2 athletes. I need Araujo, I need Koundé, who can run. Both of them can play, be the last man and, you know, run towards a guy. Koundé sometimes gets eaten up by someone like an Osimhen. He got eaten up by Iñaki Williams, stuff like that. But there's no like, I don't know. Although I was impressed against Cubarsí, he did very good against Larin sometimes. He did very good against him in Mallorca. So I just think it's one of those games where it's like, it doesn't matter. Go Cubarsí. Let's see how it goes. He has to go physically winning. Let's just we don't have that many options. So let's go and see what happens. I don't really mind.
You guys might think this one's crazy, but this actually, if he was healthy, might be a match for Marcos Alonso to come in and play kind of that left center back with Araujo and Koundé paired with him, and then have Cancelo play on the right-hand side. But he's out all season. I thought of him because he's been inching his way back, and I think he's probably played his last match for Barcelona. But
I forgot about good old Marcos Alonso.
He stepped in a lot last season.
He
He
did.
got plenty of stick, but he stepped in a lot last season. I mean, one could argue that Marcos Alonso is actually the missing link for Barcelona this year. That all this time we've been thinking, oh, it was Ter Stegen being out, it was Gavi being out, it's these other injuries that have been rotating through. Nah, Marcos Alonso, gentlemen, that's been the key this whole time. We've been overlooking
Anybody who says it's this in Dembele doesn't know ball.
Doesn't know ball, dude.
Doesn't know ball. It's Dembele. It's Dembele. Dembele is the missing link.
What? No, I thought you were agreeing with me. Buga, no, absolutely not.
Oh, but no,
I don't even know. Joke's over. Joke's over. No.
It's Boosie.
It is Boosie.
It is Boosie.
I think it is Boosie. I will say, okay, if I'm ranking like top 3 factors that are different for Barcelona, Boosie, Araujo never kicked it into gear this year for me. Never got going. And just not being able to implement a left and right fullback at all. When Xavi tried to have a Balde and a Cancelo and a balanced left and right fullback, never got that going.
No.
And then we did what? Tried to go back to what we were doing last season, but that didn't work either. So I think those 3 things for me. And of course, Marcos Alonso, but
forget about Marcos Alonso. Okay, let's move on. Let's see.
Let's move on. All right, midfield. We go in midfield 3, or right? I think we have to with Frankie and Pedri out. Do we even have a midfield 4? I don't think we do. So,
that's a good point.
Gundo, Christensen. Is it?
I think it's Gundogan, Christensen. Yeah, I think it's the same midfield that he played against. The same lineup that we played against Mallorca. I think it's the same lineup that we played against Napoli.
What? No, but Araujo in for.
Yeah. Araujo, sorry for
Inigo.
For Inigo.
But you think João Felix starts?
I do.
I think he does too. I think it's going to be, yeah. I would go Rafinha. I would go say midfield. Yeah, I'd go Rafinha, Gundo, and Christensen. I would go João, Lewandowski, and Lamine.
Yeah.
I wonder. Well, he might start for Lamine.
He might. It makes a lot of sense to start for Lamine. I think gives the team a way more balance. However, in that Mallorca game, when I really did like Rafinha off the middle. I just really like how Johnson in the previous pod, Lamine, Rafinha just on one side, creating havoc. It really, really works. But I just hope that João Felix, I don't know why he's so stuck wide. Like he needs to come way more closer to the middle of the park. I think he's the one guy that when he has the ball, he can create some sort of magic. He can do a 1-2 with any of the midfielders. I think that's the sort of player that we are missing right now. And I just don't know why he's so like touching this. He's hugging the sideline when he shouldn't be, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do a bonus clip that's going to get released later in the week where we're going to get into some details around our predictions. We'll try to bring out our crystal balls and see what's going to happen in leg 2. But scoreline predictions. What do we think, guys?
I'm going.
He's closing his eyes. He's looking into the future. Pablo, what do you think?
I'm going 2-1 to Barca.
Okay. In regular time?
Yeah, I'm in regular time, yeah.
Okay. Ugo?
I go 2-1 as well.
I'm gonna 3-2 Barca. 3-2 Barca. A shootout.
I want the bonus clip because I want to know what happens in your game now.
Yeah, bonus clip is gonna come out here. Well, I guess bonus clip is gonna have to come out
Monday,
probably the same day because it's You know what? Maybe bonus clip comes out before the pod. Bum bum bum.
Maybe, I don't know.
We'll see. You might be listening to this after the bonus clip, and this is old hat to you. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We're going to keep the mystery alive. But you'll get both. You'll get the full detailed in a separate clip. That's going to be coming out. We didn't talk about Atletico Madrid. Do we want to talk about Atletico Madrid, or do we want to just react to it on the next week pod?
Look, I like Atletico Madrid, but at this point, why are we gonna preview this game? Because like Real Madrid just
Yeah.
keep getting away. Like,
I know. Womp, womp, womp. It is what
like
it is.
if
I do have
Celta
one
Vigo,
more.
Celta Vigo like somehow managed to beat Real Madrid today or had an equalizer, 1-1 draw. Like, let's talk about that game, right?
I don't want any hope. I would rather just Real Madrid just win out. Don't give me any hope in La Liga. I don't
Well,
want it.
I'll tell you what I think. I think we'll get condemned on Sunday because I don't think we'll beat Atleti away.
Oh,
Ooh.
Griezmann masterclass, you
How
say?
how close are we to it being
Genuinely, like,
officially done?
can anyone imagine us beating Atleti away with our current team?
That's actually a pretty fair point. Actually, that's yeah. Well, Atletico have not been in great form.
They haven't. I know. Yeah.
However, it is Atletico, and they are going to show up for Barcelona.
Oh yeah,
We do know
yeah.
that. That's gonna happen.
They're so weird these days. Well, they will leave opportunities for us as well. If we play it right tactically, we could actually surprise them. But because I think I always envisaged Atleti as like really hard to beat now, but actually they're leaking goals.
Yeah, I worry about the midfield ultimately.
Yeah.
I worry about that. There are 10 matches left in the Liga. We are 8 points down, so it would require Real Madrid to drop points in 3 matches at this point, right? So Real Madrid is 7 wins away from the La Liga title. My math is correct.
What?
Pretty sure that's it. So they're inching their way towards it.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap up, I do have one more Champions League related question. So when it comes to Barcelona in the Champions League, is it more important for Barcelona to get as far as we can in the tournament, or is it more important for Barcelona to not have an embarrassing exit at whatever stage? You get what I'm saying? Like, would it be better to lose in the quarterfinal respectively? That's a word.
Look,
or make it to the final, but you lose 8-2 again.
No, look. First of all, we have to get past Napoli. That's the first thing. Because if we don't get past Napoli, like, trust me, this team is gonna. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Financially, we're in huge trouble.
We
if
need
don't
to
get
beat
past
Napoli. We need to beat Napoli 100%.
It's not just an image thing, right? We have to beat Napoli to make our budget for next season.
Yeah, no, like financially, we need to beat Napoli. By sporting reasons, we need to beat Napoli. Mental reasons, we need to beat Napoli. As a fan base, we need to beat Napoli. Like, we need to beat Napoli. Like, we need to beat Napoli, like ASAP. After that, I think the quarterfinals depends, of course, on your rival. Like, it depends a lot. Like, if you get a Dortmund, for instance, or a PSV, which I think PSV can beat Dortmund, by the way. Imagine Barcelona get PSV in the quarterfinals. Like, Barcelona need to beat PSV. Like, you want, like it or not, it's sort of like what it's expected of you. And I think that's that's a real problem. It depends on the opposition. If Barcelona get Manchester City, like, yeah, I don't really mind losing to them. I think what matters is that no matter the opposition, you need to put a very strong performance and be competitive. But it depends on the opponent. Like, if I'm being honest, I hate to give the boring answer, but that's a reality. It depends on the opponent.
Pablo, where are you at with it? How far we get, how we exit?
Probably how we exit, because I think it would be horrible to lose like by 5 goals in the semi-finals.
Yeah. We'd have to stay off of Twitter for like
it's just grim
months. Oh boy! All right. Well, there is everything to play for. Everything to play for on Tuesday. We'll be watching, of course.
Barcelona need to.
Yeah, and then we'll be back next Sunday to talk about that and the Atletico Madrid match. Until then, of course, everyone, let us know your thoughts. Give us your comments. Give us your opinions. Ask your questions. And we'll be back next week with me, Buga, and Pablo. Más que un podcast every Monday. We'll see y'all then.
Bye.